Can you quickly talk about the day-to-day difference between an agency and full-scale e-commerce brand? Which one do you prefer long term? I prefer an e-commerce brand long term because okay, well, I'll talk about the day-to-day. I mean, for an agency, if you're a solo entrepreneur, it's kind of a pain, but it's nice because it's cash flow, It's like here's the thing with e-commerce, you'll spend well, first of all, you're probably going to lose a bunch of money at first, you know, because you don't know how to run ads profitably. And I mean, it just takes money. E-commerce takes a lot of money to get started unless you're going to start with TikTok. So the agency model is great because it takes $0. You don't need to spend any money to go sell your services, right? So that's what I think is cool about it. And the other thing I think is cool about it is that it's cash flow, right? So if somebody pays you $1,500 a month, that just goes to your pocket, right? So that's really nice. But the downside is that you have to you have to have skills, and then you also have to talk to clients. And like sometimes clients can be a pain, but luckily for me, I mean, the reason I started an agency, at least, I started an agency after getting into e-commerce. The reason why is because I wanted more cash flow, like free cash flow. For me, it was like a way to diversify my cash flow, and it felt safer. I mean, I don't know. It felt like a good idea. I actually started following this guy. I'll show you. I'll actually tell you exactly why I did this. This guy, his name is this guy right here. Andrew Wilkinson. And this dude is literally a billionaire in Canadian dollars, but still, that still counts. And he just inspired me a lot because he just simplified it really well. He's like, his first successful business was an agency. It was a design agency. And then he used that profit to buy companies. So then he bought a company that was doing pretty well, and then he bought another one, and then he buys these companies and then hires a CEO to run them. I actually signed up for his thing, and for his little subscription thing, and I asked him some questions and he was able to respond, so that was super cool. But yeah, that inspired me a lot. It just kind of reminded me that, like, okay, honestly, you don't need to get so fancy with everything. You can simplify your business. I was like, what skill do I have? What do I know? What skill do I have that a business could pay me for that I know is valuable? So I was like, boom, meta ads. So that's what I did. I just started a meta ads and TikTok ads agency. I already had a brand though, a personal brand. I'd already been showing really good results on my e-com stores. So people knew I knew what I was talking about. So I was able to get some clients pretty easily, and then I was able to get some team members pretty easily that I could train and can do the job for me. And then we just kept getting better and better. So now the agency is amazing. At first, it wasn't that amazing. It was kind of a pain in the ass in a lot of ways, but I really liked the fact that I was just printing cash flow, and it just felt good. I knew I didn't have many expenses, so I was like, this is nice. And then now what we're doing is like kind of copying this guy. I'm not gonna lie. But instead of like buying companies right now, because I don't want to buy a company, bro. It just feels like too much hassle right now. So now what I'm doing is like investing in my own stores. So we're just launching our own brands, but still scaling up the agency. And we're trying to grow a Chemi Lab, but it doesn't make a lot of money yet. But I think it will in the future because it's such a dope product. But I honestly built it for myself. Like, I use this stuff every day. Like, we're posting some insane stuff in the Chemi Lab. I would love for you guys to join. So then you'll understand why I love it so much, and then you can promote it yourself as an affiliate. But it's a really cool community. So yeah, that's the agency. But then yeah, e-commerce, the day-to-day of e-commerce is kind of similar. At first, it's kind of a pain because you're doing everything: customer service, running ads, testing creatives, Um, but it gets so much better once you start outsourcing. And yeah, but I like that model even better because you know, it just feels a little more scalable, like short term. The e-commerce, not agency. Agency is more of like a slow and steady grind, which I like. That's kind of how I feel about my YouTube channel. It's just like a slow and steady grind. So it fit my ideals really well. But e-commerce, you can scale so fast if you know what you're doing. So I love that about e-commerce. That's why I'm doing e-commerce still because I just think it's a great scalable business model. And yeah, I know there's software too. Like softwares are really scalable too, but softwares take even more money to start. And I will get into it in the future probably, but for now I'm just like I said, I'm keeping it simple. I'm just focusing on meta ads. Just meta ads, ecom, and that's it. But it's been really good. It's been really awesome. And I've been having a great time. Like I said, I've been more data driven than before. And I think that's pretty incredible. It feels good. It feels better to trust the data. I think you can be confident in the data more so than like your own personal opinion sometimes. Even though as much as I would love to just be like super creative and like innovate a ton, it's kind of a hack to just like test things that are working and then make them better, as opposed to trying to create demand. So like following the demand instead of creating demand, I think is a good idea. But I respect people who are very artsy about it and like innovate and create demand. I really respect it. It's just very hard. One of the things I've found is that a lot of people just want you to over communicate as an agency owner. If you over communicate and like are very active in the client's accounts, they will really appreciate that and they're gonna be happier, even if you're getting shitty results. Because if you are getting shitty results at that point, like trying your best and communicating a lot and giving ideas, then chances are it's not your fault what's going on. Obviously, you're still gonna have to take accountability, and chances are they're still gonna drop you if you're not getting good results. But at least that way, they know that you're doing your best. I think when people get pissed, which is totally understandable, is when they pay an agency $5K a month and they set up one campaign that's broad targeting, literally like one ad set, no targeting, put 5 creatives in there, and then just let that run for a month. I think that's when people get pissed. And I totally understand that. Like, that's so lazy. That's just so lazy. But if you're testing new things every day, like testing, getting new creatives and testing them in a creative testing campaign, launching new ad sets with different targetings, testing little tweaks in targeting placements, testing different placements independently, providing ideas, right? That's why the research that I do is so helpful for my agency, because my team is able to see everything I do, and then we can provide some little tidbits of info that we find and send them to the clients that it's relevant to. And if you're doing all that right, then there's no way somebody's gonna that's worth so much more money than what we charge. We provide more value than what we charge. So we have a crazy, we have some clients that we've worked with for like a year, and we started the agency only like a year ago. So it's pretty great. Luke Belmar said it right. I rather run ecom brand than an agency because you're slave to your clients. That's not a bad argument, but it's also not it's not the full picture, because the thing about an agency is that, yes, you're a slave to your clients, but you're also a slave to your customers for your ecom brand. Like if you're building an ecom brand, you're always a slave, quote unquote, to the people that are paying you money for your service or product. So, I mean, you could argue that an agency, you have less customers to deal with that just pay you more. Whereas like with ecom, let's say you're selling something for $50, uh, and you want to make 50K a month. That's 1,000 orders, right? That's 1,000 customers. Trust me, bro. Managing 1,000 angry customers is way harder than managing 5 clients at like 10K a month. That's not entirely true, I will say. Uh, I think Luke is right in a lot of ways, because when people pay you more money, they expect a lot more. So they are more demanding. And I do prefer ecom over the agency model because of its scalability. So I do agree with Luke. But I will say agencies are pretty cool. I like the model still. It's very simple, which is something I like a lot these days. Just something that's like not so glamorized. And mixing it then with ecom, that's my sauce right now. That's what I'm doing, is just trying to scale both the agency for cash flow and team and knowledge and ecom brands. There's no reason you can't do both. And I think at this point, I mean, we talked about this with Luke in our first interview, actually, which was a year ago. But it's like, at some point you have to become the boss and kind of fire yourself from the role of just running the company and hire somebody that can run it. And that's where I'm at with the agency. I don't really do too much besides provide ideas and talk to some clients here and there. But that's about it. So it's become a really nice model for me. But yeah, you just got to build a team. It's hard to get to that point. I know it's not super relatable to a lot of you guys, but I'm just talking so that people can clip the shit. And just, I think it could be helpful for some people.